ahead and get started. So we're actually going to start standing today. So just come to the back of your mat. Start to feel out your feet. Inhale your arms up towards the sky. Find your mountain pose. As you find your mountain, you can gently close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Start to find the connection to the breath as you stand nice and strong. Take a deep inhale through your nose. And exhale. Deep inhale. And exhale. One last time, deep inhale through your nose. As you exhale, bring your hands to heart center. And as you rest at heart center, start to find the intention for today's practice. What brought you to your mat today? Maybe a person, place, thing, feeling, power word that will help guide you through your practice, both on and off the mat today. On your next inhale, bring your arms up towards the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Go ahead and bend one knee at a time in your fold. Start to wiggle out your hips. Wake up your hamstrings a little bit. And grab opposite elbows. Come into ragdoll. You can stay stationary in your ragdoll, or you can sway from side to side, create a bit of movement in your spine. Come back to stillness if you're moving, and release your bind, forward fold. Press into a halfway lift. And then walk your hands out until you find your downward facing dog. Again, you can pedal out your feet, walk out your dog, wiggle your hips. Shift your weight forward, come down onto all fours. And line your knees underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. You stay tall in your tabletop. And you have the options to press into the tops of your feet, tuck your toes, or you can lift your feet up towards the sky. Each level is just a different stage of sensation. Walk your hands up towards the top of your mat. Bow forward into a melting heart. As you come into your melting heart, be mindful of dumping your weight forward. Try to keep a nice flat spine. You can slowly rock your forehead from side to side. Release any tension you may be holding in your face, your neck, and your shoulders. Slowly rise back up, walk your hands back, take a seat on your heels into your hero's pose. Now here you've got some options too. You can sit back on your heels with your toes tucked. You can keep your knees together, separate your feet. Or you can just sit back on your heels. As you find your comfortable seat, just begin to roll your head from back, side, front, side. And switch direction. Come back to stillness. Plant your left hand on the floor or on your mat. Right arm is going to come up and over. Create some space in between your ribs. And if you'd like to deepen your stretch, you can walk your left hand out, rest on your forearm. And press back up to center. Other side, plant your right hand, left arm comes up and over. And press back up to center. Depending on which hero's pose you took, go ahead and bring your feet together, sit back on your heels. And then shift your weight forward, come back onto all fours into your tabletop. Tuck your toes, shift your weight back, downward facing dog. Jump or step to the top of your mat, come into a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, mountain pose. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. Step back into a high plank. Lower both knees, untuck your toes, press into cobra. Tuck your toes, shift your weight back, downward facing dog. And do a couple of rounds of that to just start to build a little bit of heat. Jump or step to the top of your mat, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, mountain pose. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Step back, high plank. Lower both knees, untuck your toes, cobra. Tuck your toes, shift your weight back, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, step it all the way through to the top of your mat. Rise for warrior one. Be mindful if you can't see your toes, take a wider step. A few other places to pay attention to is if you're really arching your spine, or if you have your shoulders up towards your ears, go ahead and tuck your tailbone. Bring your shoulders back and down. Interlace your fingers above your head. Bring your fist to the back of your neck so that your elbows are facing the sky. Go ahead and release your bind. Hands up towards the sky. And then bring your left hand down to your mat, your right arm goes up for a twist in your warrior. Bring your right hand down to frame your foot. Step back into high plank. Lower both knees, untuck your toes, cobra. Tuck your toes, shift your weight back, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg, step it all the way through. And create your foundation, and then rise for warrior one. And I invite you when you come into this warrior, if you are walking that tight rope, everything is lined up perfectly, maybe take a wider step with your right foot. Bring it more towards the edge of your mat. See if it's more comfortable. If it's not, it doesn't feel more stable, go back to your tight rope. Interlace your fingers above your head. Bring your fist to the back of your neck. And rest in this tiny back bend in your warrior. Release your hands back up. Undo your bind. And then bring your right hand down to your mat. Left arm goes up. Bring your left hand down to frame your foot. Step back into a high plank. Lower both knees, untuck your toes, cobra. Tuck your toes, shift your weight back, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, step it all the way through to the top of your mat. Lower your left knee down. Now you can stay here with your hands on your mat, or you can bring them up towards the sky, come into your low lunge. Create your cactus arms, your goalpost robot, whatever creature resonates with you. And then rotate your upper body towards the right of your mat. Bring your body back to center. Bring your hands down towards the inside of your right foot. Heel toe your right foot towards the edge of your mat. And just hold here in your lizard. Now you have options. You can stay lifted or you can lower down to your forearms. Whichever one works for you today. Tuck your left toes if they're not already tucked. Lift your left knee. And see if you can step your right leg back and come into a high plank. Lower both knees, untuck your toes, cobra. Tuck your toes, shift your weight back, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg, step it all the way through. Lower your right knee down. And stay here in your low lunge. Again, create your cactus arms. And then rotate your upper body towards the left. Bring your body back to center, arms up towards the sky. And then lower your hands down towards the inside of your left foot. Heel toe your foot towards the edge of your mat. Come into your lizard. Tuck your right toes if they're not already tucked. Lift your right knee. Press into your hands and shift your leg back. Come into your high plank. And lower all the way down to your belly. Go ahead and release your arms down to your sides. Untuck your toes. Rest your right cheek on your mat. And then rest your left cheek. Bring your palms up by your face, press up onto your forearms, come into Sphinx pose. Again, you have the same options. You can tuck your toes, press into the tops of your feet, or you can bring your feet up towards the sky. And in the same way that you would play with cat and cow, we are going to play with Sphinx and Seal. So on your inhale, you're going to extend your arms, press up into Seal pose. And then as you exhale, lower down into Sphinx. We are playing with back bends, so just be mindful and take your time. Just do this to your own breath. Do one more round. And then lower down into Sphinx. Stack one hand on top of the other. Rest your forehead on your hands. And then tuck your toes. See if you can lift your knees up off of your mat. And you find that you're putting the most pressure onto your hips. And believe it or not, this actually is a back bend. Go ahead and lower your knees, untuck your toes. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Shift your weight all the way back. Come into a child's pose. Walk your hands towards the left of your mat. Side stretch on the right. Come back to center. And then walk them towards the right for a side stretch on the left. And come back to center. Walk your hands in, come all the way back up into your hero's pose. Not being prepared with a hair tie can be crazy. Take up some space, bring your arms out nice and wide. Bring them into center. Your right arm's gonna come underneath your left to create your eagle arms. Keep your elbows lifted, shoulders down. Allow your belly to be soft. On your next exhale, bow forward. You don't have to go all the way down to your mat. Just as far down as comfortable. Just to give our organs a little bit of love and massage. Help activate digestion. Inhale back up to center. Release your bind, take your arms out nice and wide. Other side, left arm comes underneath the right. Create your eagle arms. On your next exhale, bow forward. Inhale back up to center and release your arms. You can lower them down to your sides. Swing your legs out in front of you. Take them out nice and long. Get your butt out of the way. You're going to be on your sit bones. Bring your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. Create a figure four with your legs. Inhale your arms up above your head to lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold over your left leg. Be mindful if you're locking your knee. And if you are super flexible and can just go straight down, try to keep the integrity of keeping a nice flat spine and just slowly lower with each exhale. On your next inhale, slowly walk yourself back up to center and switch sides. Release your right leg. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Inhale your arms up above your head to lengthen. Exhale, fold over your right leg. Stay for just a few more breaths. And then gently walk yourself back up to center. Release your left leg. And readjust, come back onto your sit bones. Flex both feet so that your toes are facing your face. Bring your arms up towards the sky. On your exhale, fold over both legs. And gently release. Come all the way up. And come to lay down on your back. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. Knees go nice and wide. To your reclined butterfly. You have the option here. You can just allow your hands to drape on your lap. You can bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. And just use this moment as a checkpoint. If you've lost that connection to your breath, go ahead and bring it back. And if you've lost your intention, the background noise started coming up in your mind, bring that back into focus. If my dog barks, I apologize. My neighbor's just got home. I can hear him growling outside the door. And if you haven't heard his bark yet, it is quite piercing, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time. Go ahead and bring your knees together. Bring your arms down to your sides if they're not already there. Extend your legs the length of your mat. And then hug just your right knee into your chest. Flex both of your feet. Just hold here. On your exhale, open your hip. Lower your right knee down towards your mat. Again, you determine which level of sensation you are looking for. So if you can lower it all the way down, go for it if it's comfortable. If not, just gently open. On your inhale, you're going to bring it back to center. Exhale, you're going to open. Again, just doing this to your own breath. A nice little hip massage. Do one more round. And bring your knee back to center. Have your right foot face the sky. Grab what you can reach, whether that's your shin or the blade edge of your right foot. Come into a half happy baby. You can stay stationary, or you can sway from side to side, whichever one works for you. Go ahead and release your right foot, lower your right leg all the way down. And then hug your left knee into your chest. Flex both of your feet. And then on your exhale, go ahead and open your hip. And then on your inhale, bring it back to center. Again, just doing this to your own breath. Two more rounds. Have your left knee back into center. Have your foot face the sky. Grab what you can reach. Come into your half happy baby. And go ahead and release your left leg down. Hug both knees into your chest. And then have both feet face the sky. Come into your waterfall. That's okay if your legs are already shaking. It's just your nerves firing and communicating to rebuild. I used to always view that as such a negative thing, that I was fatigued or, my body was exhausted from the practice, until I actually learned that it's a positive thing. It means that you're working. Your body is working to rebuild. It's communicating to become stronger and stronger and stronger. Go ahead and extend your arms as if you're reaching towards your toes. If you can reach them, awesome. If you can't, just reach towards them. Keeping your spine on your mat. Into the attractive name of your cockroach. Go ahead and release your hands down, hug your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. Again, take your arms out nice and wide. Lower your knees towards the left of your mat. Your gaze will come over your right shoulder for a reclined twist. Bring your knees and your gaze back to center. On your exhale, lower your knees towards the right. Your gaze will come over your left shoulder. Bring your knees and your gaze back to center. And then extend your legs the length of your mat. Bringing one heel to one corner, other heel to the other corner. Your arms will come down to your sides, palms face the sky. If you feel comfortable, you may close your eyes. Gently return to your natural breath. And settle in for Shavasana. Begin to bring awareness back into your body. By wiggling your fingers and your toes, rocking your head from side to side. Slowly hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice big hug. Showing up for yourself today. Making your time and your practice a priority. Gently lower down to one side. Come into your sleepy baby. With whichever hand landed on top, press up into a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. We will close our practice today with the way we began, with the sound of breath. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Exhale, release. And bow your head. Thank you. Let me see if I know how to turn this off.